All right, I am now live on the website. Okay, well, welcome everyone. My name is Jensen Chapman, Sales Director here at Axia by Qcells. I am super excited as this is our first inaugural launch of our live stream here on AxiaSolarUSA.com. If you're joining here for the first time, maybe you're inquiring about solar, thank you for being here. And we're excited to just talk today for a good hour about the benefits of going solar, who we are as a company, and really, this platform called Axia that I get to share our story with. This forum was designed to just create an open place for people to come and join and really hear what questions are being asked, what they can expect during a solar consultation, and really get kind of a head start or intel on what these type of meetings are going to look, feel, sound like, and see if solar and energy storage is a right fit for your home. So thanks again for being here. I'm going to take my time today as this again is just an inaugural meeting to kick things off, but we look forward to doing this frequently. So if you like what you hear today or like what you learn, all we ask in return is that you share it with a friend that may have solar on their radar. Being a homeowner in California or Texas, you're definitely got an electric bill, and we'd be honored to help you with that. We have several solutions and several financial ways to go about getting solar, but I think first and foremost we want people feeling comfortable, excited really about this opportunity, because a lot of people just don't know what's available to them, or haven't taken the time yet to actually sit down or meet with someone virtually for a solar consultation. So I'm going to wait for a few minutes for anyone to come in the chats. Um, and I'm gonna be answering questions as we go. Okay, well, if you randomly visit our site, there will be a link that shows up shortly to join this stream. Otherwise, you may just see my mouth move without any words or any sound. So the link is sure to come. I'll start maybe just to kind of kick this off to keep talking until others join. Um, Again, my name is Jensen Chapman. I've actually been in solar for now going on 13 years. Got involved in this industry just over a decade ago. Have a background in customer service, sales, property management, really. And a great little story is at the time I got involved in solar, I had a son who then was 11 years old. He was doing a science fair project on the conduction of electricity, and then learned about clean technology such as solar, wind, hydroelectric that doesn't emit CO2. As we know how electricity is generated today as a secondary energy source, we have to burn coal, oil, and natural gas to produce electricity, which happens to be the leading contributor to land, air, and water pollution based on the CO2 emissions. So one morning, this son of mine presented to me a science project, and I thought it was a great report. And then he looked at me as serious as he could and said, "Dad, it's not about the report, it's about what I learned. And what I learned is that you have the responsibility to leave this world a better place for me." Now, when I asked, "Well, how do I do that, son? I mean, I recycle, I do everything I can for the community." And he said, "Well, I hope you don't mind, but Mom and I put your resume online, and you have 4 job interviews in the solar industry next week." Now, at first, I was not pleased with this. I hadn't decided to leave my current career or employer. But when I was enlightened to what was available with such great incentives and the fact that solar can help families save money on their electric bill, I was all in. So I got my first job with a private company out of Los Angeles, California. Started going door to door, promoting the benefits of solar, asking homeowners how much they paid for electricity. Had a real passion about it because it was truly helping people. And then I took that to another company, a publicly traded company, and helped grow them out so that we could be more national and operate in more states throughout the U.S. And then I've just found this opportunity at Qcells, or now Axia by Qcells, just about 4 or 5 months ago. And I'm really excited to share my passions, my knowledge, and the fact that we're here to help people, not sell people. And that's what this whole Axia by Qcells experience is all about. I'll be sharing my screen in a bit just to tell a little more of the story of who we are and what we do here. But I think it's important to know that if you're working with somebody in solar, if you're considering a company or a contractor, make sure that the person you work with is knowledgeable and passionate and really cares about what they're offering. B, who is that company? How long they've been around? What do their ratings look like? And C, what's their longevity look like? We've seen a lot of solar companies come and go over recent years, and it's an up and down market. But Qcells, who's been around since 1999, now started this, direct-to-consumer model. It speaks a lot to our financial stability and the longevity. So that's why we're really excited about this opportunity to go direct to homeowners so that we can provide customized energy solutions based on their electrical needs of today and tomorrow. So that's really the gist of what this is all about. I'm going to wait for a minute to see if there's any questions in the chat. And before I do, and then after I answer a few questions, I'll pause on some question and answers and then just go through a screen share of some of the highlights of our company. So if you're there, don't be shy. Go ahead and type a question in the chat, and look forward to answering those questions best I can. To keep sound moving, in case you're joining, wondering what's going on, if you have a question about considering solar, just put that in the chat. You're visiting us at axiasolarusa.com. You're in the right place. If you want to skip some of the meetings or some of the talk today, you can actually click on request a quote, and we can get you connected with a solar advisor and then schedule a virtual consultation free of charge with one of our energy consultants, and they can walk you through our solutions and see if it's the right fit for you. All right, so I've got my first question in the chat. This is exciting. A homeowner in California, how can I benefit from a battery? Excellent question, and that's what we're going to talk more in depth about today. For starters, batteries weren't really adopted until recently. You may have seen some commercials or heard from some neighbors of why we didn't have a battery, say 5 or 6 years ago, but now today. Well, if you live in California, you're probably familiar with a lot of the terrible things that have happened with the wildfires and the fact during high wind season, a lot of our electrical power lines are subjected to falling down, causing fires and such. So the utilities alone have started something you may have heard about called Public Safety Power Shutoffs, or PSPS events. This is where we have no control when it comes to the power we receive from our electric companies. So when your power goes out, the best way to be built for that or to have a reliable source of energy is to not only have solar on your roof, but to have a battery installed so that you can store up some of that extra energy or electricity your home needs. So in the event of a power outage, you can shift over to your battery use and keep your refrigerator, computer, TV, lighting, all those components running without the fear of food being spoiled, maybe not interrupting a work meeting you're having from home, or maybe even watching your favorite Netflix show. I know that's happened to me before. Right at the cliffhanger, the power went out, and I had to wait until the power came on, and then figure out what happened. So that's the solution, and really how batteries work. And there's some additional benefits or way to use a energy storage system like a solar battery to help save more money. Another question I see in the chat is, how is Axia different than other solar companies? Great question. We were established just about a year ago and actually relaunched this company on June 1st of this year, 2023. And really, this company is built on a platform of focusing on a customer experience, a world-class customer experience. So how we're different is most, if not all, other solar companies are middlemen of some sort, where they're either a broker, a financer, maybe a contractor, or even a manufacturer. We cover all those bases, as Qcells being the manufacturer, Axia being the selling arm directly from Qcells, as employees. And then we enlist our own certified installation partners that are trained to install the Qcells technology. So that's really our first differentiator. Secondly, we've also brought in our own in-home financing, a company called Enfin, to help homeowners finance their projects and do it different ways than just the typical pay up front and wait for a return on investment. So good question there, and more on the differential or how we differentiate ourselves. Another question in the chat. Let's see if I can see this one larger. What can I do if I want to get a quote? Well, you're in the right place. Just click on that little orange button, I believe it is, to request more information or to request a quote. You'll be immediately connected to a solar advisor. He or she will reach out and schedule an appointment that's convenient for you and us to meet virtually over a Zoom call. We assure you it's a no pressure experience. We just want an opportunity to meet you, answer questions that you have, show you who we are, and then design with and for you a custom energy solution based on your electrical needs of today and tomorrow. But all great questions. I'll wait for one or two more and then do a little show about the Axia Advantage. If I could hear from anyone that's maybe just sitting in watching, if you have a question or not, or maybe you've already asked a question, how is the sound and quality of this meeting going for you so far? You can pop something in the chat just to verify that this is coming through clear, as again, this is our first launch of our live stream, and I want to make sure this is a good experience for anyone taking the time to view it. Okay, another question in the chat just came in. Is it worth going solar in Texas? Well, my short answer is absolutely, but more of a detailed answer is, we know Texas as the center of our country, the Lone Star State, and there's certainly no shortage of sun. So if you can count on the sun in the state of Texas, well, then, solar would make sense for any homeowner that's considering it. You can harness that sunlight as usable electricity and actually, replace what you're used to buying from your electric company as cleaner, cheaper, more efficient electricity. There's also some great federal incentives for solar, as I see another question in the chat. The federal government right now, per the Inflation Recovery Act, is offering a 30% tax credit for homeowners that qualify that invest in solar and energy storage for their homes. And we'll talk more about that in a moment when I get into the three dominant financial ways that you can go about getting solar for your home. And thanks for the confirmation. It looks like everything's sounding good and great. That always makes me feel good because we're all focused on the end user and how you're receiving this information. So thanks for that affirmation there. Okay. If you got another question, you just joined, please feel free to drop it in the chat. But I'm going to like to share my screen now and tell you a little bit more about the Axia Advantage, or a little more, and I'll start with the meaning behind our name, which is one of my favorite things to start meetings with. I've already shared, if you joined earlier or not, that Axia is actually a selling arm of Qcells, the manufacturer, based here in the United States. In fact, just out south, I believe, of Atlanta, Georgia. Axia, the word itself is the Greek meaning is value or worth. And again, this is what we based our company's pillars around: is the customer experience, delivering a world-class value and worth, so that they can tell their friends and family about us, and it creates a great word-of-mouth experience. Now, as I go to the next page here, a little difficulty. I'd like to walk you through the Axia solar journey, which would be very familiar, or very similar, I should say, to a virtual consultation you'll experience with one of our energy consultants. But I'll tell you, we'll start here. One of the main reasons people are choosing solar in this country, especially in California, the Golden State, and now Texas, the Lone Star State, is the rising cost of electricity, right? I'm sure none of us on this call that or on this meeting are strangers to the fact that the cost of electricity goes up every year, just like everything, right? I remember what gasoline used to cost per gallon just 10 years ago, and now it's almost doubled, more than, in fact, in California, and getting pretty close to the same in Texas. So your energy bill is increasing. We have a solution for that. And I think when I explain the financial ways to go solar, that'll make more sense on how you can hedge against the rising cost of electricity over time. Now, there's a few reasons I put on the screen that more people are adopting solar than in ever before, than in the history of time, whether it be cost savings, environmental benefits, adding value to the home. We understand after so many years of speaking with homeowners that people don't know how long they're going to live in their home. And is solar a good investment for them? Because there could be a long payback period. Well, no matter how you slice it, you can measure the cost of going solar today. You cannot measure the cost of doing nothing. So let's play out the scenario that you invested in solar in 2023, and perhaps you were the type that wanted to just pay for it outright, claim the tax credit, and then calculated a return on investment in about 9 or 10 years, which is realistic in today's offerings. Well, let's imagine in 5 years from now you decide to sell that home. This could actually increase the value of your home, not so much from an appraiser standpoint, but the fact that your home becomes more attractive to any potential buyer, because the cost to do business when it comes to electricity is going to be less or nil compared to any home, say, without solar. In fact, Zillow and even some other third-party companies have done studies to prove that homes with solar are not only selling faster, but for more money. In fact, on average, about 4%, I believe, in California, more than an asking price, because of the points earlier mentioned, is that the cost to do business would be so much less. There's also a great ROI for solar investing, which I'll talk more about. And, if you calculate this over time, the savings are really grand. And I mean 4 to 5 times the investment up front it would cost, whether you're doing it, as a cash purchase or doing a month-to-month finance option with no penalty. So a lot of great reasons we have listed on the screen why more people are choosing solar than ever before. Before I get back to the chat with some questions, I'd like to take a few minutes, and for those that may be advanced or just really don't know anything about this technology, I'd like to explain how solar energy works for home and the benefits of having a home energy storage system or a home battery for your energy needs. So let's start with the simple fact that photovoltaic technology, solar panels, the word photo meaning light, the word voltaic meaning electric, essentially solar panels convert electricity from sunlight. So imagine on a bright sunny day, these photon rays are going to shine down on these solar panels. Essentially, the material inside these solar panels, the wafers, the solar cells made of silicon, the electrons start to activate. They start doing kind of like a happy dance, right? And that creates a current called DC, or direct current. You may have heard that before. Well, DC power is not safe to use in our home. It's too shaky. It's too all over the place. So that DC has to be converted to an alternating current, or AC power, in order for it to safely power your home. Now, that's done through a technology called inverter systems. And there are a couple options there. The traditional way is a centralized or string inverter. That's a piece of hardware about the size of a backpack that would go on the side of your home. And its job is to take in the direct current that the solar panels produce and convert that to alternating current so it can safely power your home. There's another type of inverter technology called microinverters, which actually go underneath each individual panel, helping isolate each panel's production, creating or converting DC to AC up on the roof rather than a piece of hardware installed on the side of your home. Now, when you have solar panels installed on a bright sunny day, that's going to be your first source of electricity for the home. And I assure you, it doesn't change the way your light bulbs burn or flicker or other. It's just an alternative energy source that is your first source of energy for the home. If your solar power is producing more than what you're using, that extra power can go back to the grid and you can receive credits for it and certain utilities or certain net energy metering programs, which I'll cover later. Or you can store that extra power in your own battery or energy storage system to use later, say at night or during cloudy days or during power outages. But either way, again, if you're producing energy during the day, that becomes the home's first solar of energy or first source of energy. Now, if it's a daytime and there's not enough electricity being generated from your solar panels, maybe it's a super hot day and you're running your air conditioning, your pool pump, you're having a party. Your solar panels may not cover all of your electrical needs, in which case the grid will actually deliver the extra power that you need as kind of your secondary energy source. So think of solar as like conservation. The more solar power you produce, the more energy you're conserving or essentially buying from your electric company. But if it's cloudy or if it's nighttime or if the power is out, you're going to, well, I guess that wouldn't be the case from the grid. But if it's the power is live and there's not enough sun or, to those examples, then you can just rely on your good old grid power to come in. Now, the benefits to producing more than you use, as mentioned, is you can either sell some of that power back and get credits for it, say against your nighttime use, or a more cost-effective way to do it, especially in California right now and even Texas, is to store up that extra power in your battery system. And then at nighttime, once the sun sets and the solar stops generating, well, then you can actually pull that extra power from the battery, which reduces, or as I like to say, shields you from the electric company from delivering you power at night when you're watching TV, cooking dinner, or whatever. And we also know that in states like Texas and California, there is such thing as time of use rates, where the electricity rates you're buying at night, say between 4 and 9 p.m. every day, are much more expensive than all other hours of the day, which is kind of unfair, but at the same time necessary, because a lot of us work during the day, come home in the afternoon or evenings, and what do? We want to turn on our lights. We want to cook dinner for our families. We want to turn on our TVs, our computers, right? And that's when the electric companies want to charge us more. Well, the reason for that is the electricity grid as we know it today is very antiquated. It was not built to support our demands of today. I mean, think about it. 40 years ago, we didn't have nearly as many electronic devices, right? We may have had televisions 40 years ago, but we didn't have like all the other components like, laptops, DVD players, iPads to plug in, cell phones that were charging. And the grid wasn't built for anything but our needs 40, 50 years ago. So the reason for these higher rates in the afternoon or evening hours is to try to promote conservation from the grid, because our electrical grid is subjected to power outages based on high demand. And that's where solar not only can help homeowners individually, but help all of us. Because if you're producing your own energy by day, storing that in a battery, say for nighttime use, then you're less reliant on the grid, and that can provide more reliable power for people that don't own their home, don't have a good roof for solar, and they can have electricity uninterrupted. So in a way, it's a bigger cause, it's a bigger win in that regard. And I hope that really explains well, in a simple term, how solar energy works for a home and home batteries. I'm going to go to my next slide and talk a little more about Qcells. We are really proud to bring this direct-to-consumer model to homeowners across the country. Currently right now in California and Texas, but with more states to open up. But fun little fact, Qcells happens to have the #1 market share of all solar manufacturers here in the U.S. In fact, now above 35%. You could probably say, if you've seen solar in your neighborhoods, that at least 1 out of every 3 homes you see with solar on the roof are likely Qcells solar panels. And all of the equipment you see on the screen, from the solar panels, the inverter, the battery, everything is all by one company and under one umbrella warranty. And that really differentiates us, to the question I had earlier, as all the components are designed to work beautifully together and all under one roof. Qcells, as mentioned, has been around since 1999. We've earned several awards in the industry, talking about our financial stability, our longevity, our commitment to sustainability. We're actually one of the more highly reviewed companies as well, Qcells. So a lot of people are raving about the quality of our products, the reliability of our products, and most importantly to us here at Axia is the customer experience. So if you're thinking about investing in solar, make sure you check out the company's accolades, what their history looks like, what their stability looks like in the future, where we really feel that we have an advantage over most in that regard. To go over those warranties, or peace of mind, we offer a 25-year warranty on the workmanship, on the equipment itself. There's a product warranty that can be extended by 30 years, or performance, up to 30 years, I should say, if you went with our in-home choice financing. We will bring in an installer to install on a roof like this, and that comes with a traditional 10-year penetration warranty, protecting your home from any leaks or damages. And the beauty of working with us at Axia is it's end-to-end, one company does it all. So that's where we really shine, pun intended, in this industry, to not only offer our customers peace of mind with industry-leading warranties, but knowing that if there was a problem up there, instead of not knowing who to call, right, based on several pass-through warranties, it's one number that does it all. And I think that's what we've learned over our experience of studying the industry and what Axia was really built for or founded on. Lastly, the power of one, just to drive that home. We've got all of our own products. We have all of our own sales and project management team, and now our own financing. Now, there's a lot of words on the screen, I understand. This is all available on our website as well. You can click more about us, or if you really want a first-hand experience, again, I encourage you to request a quote, and then we can meet with you and show you this firsthand and answer any and all the questions that you have. One of our most recent proud moments, I should say, is we are leading the customer review sites, and not by a little, but by a lot of it. And you know, no shame to any solar company out there. It's never a perfect project, I'll say, as going solar is a small construction project. But we really base our planning, our experience, and everything that we do around the customer experience. So we take a lot of pride that we're recognized now with the Better Business Bureau, Best Company, Energy Sage, et cetera, and that list keeps growing. Because, I mean, look what people are saying about us. And we're talking nothing, less than 4 or 5 stars, but lots of room still to improve as we grow. So that's really what I had to show today. I'm going to shift back to the questions in the chat, and I thank you for that. So let me see what else I've got here. Okay, my first question since leaving off was, do we offer solar buyback plans? Great question. That is related to your electric provider. So if you're in Texas, one that I would recommend is Chariot Energy. We actually partner with them. So and you may not know this or not, if you're already with Chariot, you're probably receiving solar power coming from Qcells solar panels. But as a individual solar home with battery, you can actually participate in a 1-for-1 buyback program with Chariot that helps the ROI, so that any extra power you may not have to store, but rather sell back and can be used as a 1-for-1, say, against your nighttime energy. Now, there are different electric companies, we understand, in Texas. In fact, most of it is a deregulated market. So, I mean, we're talking hundreds here. So what we'll take the time to do, if you were to take the time to meet with us, we'll find out what electricity provider you're with, if you have the ability to switch, and who or what has the best buyback program to maximize your savings or ROI. But excellent question. I guess I should also say that in California, that also varies. If you're living in any of the three major investor-owned utilities, starting from the southern part of the state, San Diego Gas and Electric, the middle part of our state, a little more Southern California Edison, and then the northern part of California, Pacific Gas and Electric. Those are the three major investor-owned utilities. They do participate or allow solar homes to participate in a program called Net Energy Metering, or NEM for short, in which case you can sell some of that extra power back and get, I wouldn't say a full credit, but at least a partial credit, which that energy can also be distributed to some of your neighbors without solar, whether they know it or not, to help ease the burden on the grid during peak command times. So there are buyback rates that vary in California, but the three majors certainly participate in that. Another question I have in the chat: does your solar system work during a power outage? Great question again. I would say I'll explain this in two ways. Number one, let's imagine you had solar installed on your roof on a bright sunny day and you didn't have a battery installed. Well, you're producing all this energy from the sun, but there's a public safety power shutoff, or for some reason the grid went down. Well, in that case, your power would also be immediately shut down. And the reason for that is all solar electric systems are actually tied into a utility's grid. So if in the event of a power outage, if there was a blackout and you have solar panels on the roof, we can't have that extra power being, accidentally sent back to the grid when there could be linesmen out there working. That would be dangerous and, really bad. So by rule and now law that all solar electric systems have to shut down in the event of a power outage. And then once the power or the grid is live or restored again, then your system automatically turns back on, activated by sunlight, and you're back to producing energy. Now, this is where, again, the battery comes in. So let's play out the same scenario. It's a bright sunny day in June. You're producing all this energy from the sun, and you have a energy storage system installed in your garage or nearby. Well, any of that extra power is going to, feed the battery and store that up, but boom, the power goes out. Well, with a battery installed, it'll be an instantaneous switch to that now new source of power from your battery. That's going to keep your refrigerator running, your computer, TV, lighting, etc., for you to live, quite frankly, pretty normal. You wouldn't even know the difference of the power being out. Because essentially, your solar panels, which could still be producing energy, are going to be now switched or isolated from the grid, but rather be feeding your battery so that the energy you're drawing from that battery to power your home's appliances and such is being kind of recharged as you're pulling it. I like to use this great analogy. Let's imagine you're on a camping trip or a hiking trip, I should say, and you've got a few mile hike ahead of you. So what did we bring with us? A canteen or a bottle of water of some sort, right? Well, the last thing you want to do is drink up all that water in the beginning, because you need to ration that water as you go so you don't dehydrate out there on the trail. Well, with solar and battery, think of it this way. You can have your battery filled up with power, and as you're drinking it, as you go, as long as there's sunlight during that hike, it can be actually charging or creating more water that fills your bottle as you're drinking it. This can help prolong your electricity needs, or I don't think I said that right. This could actually extend your energy use or energy provider during maybe an elongated power outage that could last 1, 2, or even 3 days, right? But we've got to have enough sunlight to charge up the battery, and you still have to ration a bit, I want to say, with fair warning. So great question there. We do offer storage. I see that in the question. Clearly, as we're talking today about how solar and batteries work, that's something we take a lot of pride in, our Q Home Core battery system. That gives homeowners peace of mind that they'll have a reliable source of energy in the event of a power outage. Okay, great questions. Let's see what else I got here. I think there was a question in the chat about some financing options. And that's really a good segue into what I wanted to talk about next. So I'll just keep this simple for our viewers today. And again, thank you for your time and checking in today. There's three dominant ways you can go about getting solar for your home. You can purchase a system outright. We call this a cash purchase, where essentially you're going to work with a contractor, probably a small down payment, and then payments as the project goes, which takes a couple months on average. And at the end of the day, once you've paid for your system, you now own it outright. If you qualify for this 30% tax credit, you can claim 30% of that investment cost against your federal income tax liability. Let me disclose legally, I'm not a tax professional, nor am I giving anyone tax advice. So again, please consult with a tax professional to see how that may work for you. But essentially, the government is going to help pay for a third of this in that regard with this 30% tax credit. So then as a cash buyer, you can calculate how much money you're saving each year in otherwise electricity charges against your upfront investment to determine what your payback or return on investment would be. On average, that could be anywhere between 9 and 10 years, but a lot of variables go into that calculation. The second dominant way to go solar is a zero down financing program. We certainly offer this, as many do. And the way I like to sum it up is we give our customers the ability to redirect money they're already spending towards their electric bills, but now towards their own fixed cost solar investment. And the best part about this, again, it costs you nothing up front. The monthly investment would in most cases compete with your electric bill, or even in a lateral or slightly more, but locked in at one rate, hedging against the future cost of electricity. There are variable loan terms anywhere from 10 to 25, even 30 years. Interest rates vary. It is a credit program, of course, so you've got to be credit qualified. And most of the solar loans out there will tie in some sort of ability to use your tax incentive to actually reinvest into your loan to buy down the principal to keep your low monthly payments. So far we've talked about the upfront cash purchase, calculating the return on investment. We've talked about the solar loan, which could see an immediate return on investment if your monthly investment already competes or already beats your electric bill out the gate. And even if it's only a couple dollars, well, that's still a penny earned is a penny saved is a penny earned, right? And it's locking in a rate, hedging against the future cost of electricity. Now, there's also a third way to go solar, and that's the conventional solar lease. This actually, in most cases, favors solar companies, but also helps homeowners save money. And the way the lease is designed, very similar to a solar loan. For zero down, a homeowner can actually rent the equipment and have it installed for, no installation cost up front, and then pay a fixed or slightly escalating rate per month for the equipment, and then lock in that rate, say, even at a small escalating price, certainly less than the electric companies charge, for a period of, say, 20, 25 years, and then have the benefits of clean energy, saving money over time, and not having really any hassles when it comes to maintenance or any product replacements. Now, there's little to no risk no matter how you go about it, because solar is a passive technology. There's not a lot of moving parts up there, a lot of things that can go wrong. But with a solar purchase, whether you pay up front or you finance, you could be looking at some maintenance costs down the road. You may need to replace certain components over time. Where with a solar lease for, say, 25 or even 30 years in some cases, that's not your concern at all. There wouldn't necessarily be a tax credit for a homeowner that does a solar lease, but a lot of times solar companies can assume some of that to offer a lower monthly payment, and they can still feel good about having solar and a battery at a fixed cost energy line. Now, one of the newer ways that we're really excited about here at Axia is a prepaid power purchase agreement. Very similar to, say, a cash purchase, but we want to take all the hassles, all the headaches, all the potentials out of the equation to make sure that we're partnering with homeowners that want to invest in solar for their homes, but don't necessarily want to face, maintenance costs down the road or maybe equipment replacement. And that is a prepaid power purchase agreement, which is a 25-year term. So essentially, we'll install all the equipment up front at a cost that's at least 30% less than what it would cost is just purchasing it outright. That's us kind of assuming that tax incentive on your behalf, and then offering you all the bells and whistles, all the maintenance, all the replacement cost for a 25-year period. After that time, and like most solar leases, you have the opportunity to either have that equipment removed and maybe invest in new technology in 25 years, or since solar has a useful life of 35 years or more, you could always renew that, or even count on the fact that even after 25 years, where most warranties end, you can count on that solar equipment still producing 80% or more of that energy from year one, for another 10 or 15 years, providing that home value, cost savings, and clean energy for the environment. So those are the dominant ways you can go about solar. We offer just about everything here at Axia by Qcells because this is what we were designed for, is everything that's available to homeowners, but in just a better way. We've looked at the nuances, we've learned from the experiences, and that's where we get to bring this direct solution to our customers here in California and Texas currently. So great question. Some others I see tailed off is what are the warranties on our panels? In case you missed that, we do offer a 25-year warranty on the equipment on the roof. That covers the power, the product, the service, so no worries there. In fact, it's such a reliable product that you could almost consider it the greatest warranty you would never have to use, right? Which we've have enough experience to speak to that. But if there was a problem up there, you have just one number to call. Oh, I like this one in the chat. What is the quality of your installation team? Well, that's very important to us for that end-to-end user or customer experience. So we are really selective when it comes to installation partners. We want to make sure that we are hiring the best of the best out there, ones with great experience, great reviews, and quite frankly are coachable to our ways because, as I've shared now multiple times, we have figured out with over 2 decades of experience what customers want, what's important to them. So as long as these installation partners are aligned with our standards and our requirements, we can guarantee a world-class installation experience. And even if there is a mistake or something, we're going to own that firsthand and make customers whole. And that is proven in our customer review sites, because people that provide us positive reviews, I'll be honest, they may not have had the best experience up front, but they got a good experience on the back end when we learned from that, fixed that, made that whole again. Because I think the best way to evaluate a company or a contractor is not so much how they deliver, but how they respond when things don't go so well. And, nobody's perfect. Nothing ever goes off without a hitch. I mean, we do things mostly extraordinarily well, but when mistakes happen or shortcomings, we'll own that and make sure that we make right on it. So great question. Glad to hear that in the chat. Here's one related to the lease explanation. Should I lease a system if I don't have a tax liability? Well, either way you slice it, there's still a payback period. But if you're looking to own a system outright without the tax credit, your payback period is going to take a lot longer than it would with this 30% subsidy. So if you're looking for more like immediate savings, or I should say short-term savings, and perhaps you're retired and don't have a taxable income. Again, I'm no tax expert. A solar lease may be right for you because the company can essentially claim that on your behalf and then amortize that to provide you a much more affordable, lower monthly payment, which, is intended to compete with your electric bill. Because I'll say this again, if you do nothing, you're on a lease anyway with your electric company at an escalating price that you have no control over. For as long as you are alive or as long as you live in a home, apartment, or other, you're always going to need electricity from a source unless you want more energy independence with your own solar and home battery. So great questions there. I'll just review these again. I guess they're shown here on the screen as well to see if I missed anything today. Another little check-in, if I could, just to keep the sound and voice going. I will need to take a drink of water here shortly. Sound and quality still coming out to my viewers out there. Drop something in the chat if you can hear and see me everything good. All right. Okay, I've got a new question. If I buy solar from Axia, how long will it take my solar system to be installed and be producing power? That's going to vary in place to place, but We are confident to say, with I would safely say 6 to 10 weeks end to end from meeting with us, signing an agreement to move forward, us pulling the permits, us scheduling the installation, us completing the installation, having the system inspected, and then your utility giving the permission to operate. End to end, 2 to 3 months, but our goal is always to be shorter than that. So I think the safer bet is 2 to 3 months to under promise and over deliver. We do have a goal here at Axia to complete at least the solar installation piece of the project within 30 days of a homeowner agreeing to move forward, which obviously speeds up the timeline. But I will say that a lot of jurisdictions are becoming more friendly with permitting. We've got a lot of great partners in our queue ready to deploy. So we can do things a lot quicker than usual and get our customers saving money sooner than later. So thanks for that. Great question. And I'm coming through great. So thanks for that feedback. Just want to make sure our viewers are having a great experience today. Okay. What happens if I give you my contact information? Other companies get my phone number and call me nonstop? Well, we can't be responsible for your search engine, but we can certainly be responsible for your personal information shared with us that I can guarantee you on this call we would not sell, we would not distribute. That is not our thing. We're not a marketing company. We are a direct-to-consumer solar company. So I will admit that if you go on to Google or any of these search engines and type in solar, that's where your information could get out there and you receive the calls nonstop. But I assure you that's not our way. We have very careful things in place to protect our customers' contact information to try to prevent such things. So fair question. You must have had some experience shopping around. Okay, next question. How much would it cost for a 22 square foot home, just a ballpark? I think this is one of the more common questions I get when I meet with people out, in the communities or just meeting with them online. The size of your home is certainly important. I get that. But it's hard to give you even a ballpark cost because there's several variables when it comes to the actual cost for a solar project. So let me just take a couple steps back and kind of explain our approach, or really any solar company's approach when it comes to the cost associated. The first thing we want to look at is the energy use for the home. And that's usually measured in kilowatt hours, and then of course the price we have to pay. Funny little question is, for over 10 years I've been asking homeowners, do you know how you're being charged for electricity? And I would say 8 out of 10's common answer is not really. I don't really understand it, but I don't have a choice in it, so I just pay whatever it says. Isn't that a shame? And I don't know about you, but even before I got into solar and even to date, I still get confused looking at my electric bill, wondering what this and that for. So we're going to start by looking at your electric bill and understanding what the electrical needs are for the home and what those future needs could be. Who's to say that you don't invest in an electric vehicle or converting appliances from gas to electric? So we're going to start there. The second thing we're going to look at is the angle your roof has to the sun. And we take into consideration the trees around your property, casting shade on the roof, what sort of southern exposure your roofs may have. And we're going to determine best placement, which ultimately leads to the next thing we're going to look at is how many solar panels would it take to, say, offset a targeted 100% of that home's annual energy need. So let me kind of slow down and restate. We're going to look at your energy needs and cost. We're going to look at your roof, angle to the sun, any shade calculated. The quality of the roof should also be inspected so that the structural integrity, so it can withstand a solar installation. And then we're going to take a look at how many solar panels we would need through our unique software that models production. And then ultimately, if a battery is requested or not, what that cost would be. This would include labor, installation, cost, permitting fees, etc., to deliver an all-inclusive price. And here at Axia by Qcells, we include the sales tax. Be mindful of that if you're shopping around, that sales tax is included in our price because we are a company that's thought of everything. We want to anticipate the needs of our customer. So let's call it a 2,200 square foot home that has, a $200 a month electric bill, a really nice south-facing roof, for sun exposure, without even calculating the number of panels, I would say ballpark anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000 that could be paid for up front or even financed over time. But again, I don't think I should be quoted on that, just kind of a ballpark number, doing the best I can since you took some valuable time to check out our live stream today. So great question. Hope that answers that ballpark. But if you want to get a true price that's customized for your home, click on request a quote so we can, talk with you firsthand, review your energy needs, look at your roof, and see how many panels you may need and how much money you can save. So good stuff. Can I get solar for free? Okay. Finally, someone brought it up. I don't know about you. I've seen a lot out there, but yeah, with all these great incentives, you can go solar for about what you're paying today or less in some cases. So you can make your own determination there. I will say that a lot of people, think that's a gimmick. I'll admit it kind of is, but at the same time, if you can save money without putting any skin in the game right out the gate, some may call that free. Either way, we want to level off with people to make sure they understand that no matter how you slice it, you have to pay for energy in some way, shape, or form. We just offer a cleaner, cheaper, more efficient way to do that. And because you can do financing for zero down, it's like a free solar installation because you're just redirecting money that you used to pay here now towards a solar investment that in most cases would cost you less per month. So good, fair question there. We get a lot of that. Let's see. And yeah, the government incentives have a lot to do with that free solar campaign. That's how we're able to offer such competitive monthly payments. Okay, next question. Do I personally have to pull permits or reach out to my HOA? I think that's a fair question. Here at Axia by Qcells, we offer an end-to-end turnkey solution. In fact, we're going to take this whole somewhat complex solar project from you and make it for you. That includes pulling permits. That includes providing you, the homeowner, any documents that your homeowners association requires so that you can submit properly, because that's between you and them. We can't really interfere with your HOA. But anything they need, a design, pictures, spec sheets, etc., we totally get that. We've worked with thousands over our experience. We can provide those documents at request. But essentially, we're going to manage this project end to end. All you have to do as our potential customer or actual customer is, sit back, watch this project unfold, and then calculate the money you save once your system is installed and operational. So great question. All right. Well, I think this is going to be the time where I'm going to wrap this up. I'll stay on for 1 or 2 more minutes for any last minute joiners or questions you may have think. We are going to continue this. So if you visited once today, I encourage you to come back. We'll announce our schedules in the coming days or weeks. But hey, if you like what you heard today, request a quote, meet with us firsthand. I promise you'll love the experience. It's what we take the most pride in, is just delivering comprehensive information, giving homeowners the opportunity to ask any and all the questions they may have or think of, and really get them excited about what's available to them. Because I'll end with this. There's 3 reasons more people aren't going solar right now. They either, number 1, don't know what's available to them. Number 2, don't care. Yeah. Or they don't qualify. Now, our offerings currently are for homeowners that have a, stable roof or a good quality roof with enough sunlight for solar to make sense. And if you now know what's available to you and you care about being responsible when it comes to energy, let's meet with you so we can talk to you about the qualification process and get solar on the roof to help you save money. And in return, all we ask is that you tell a friend or two that are also considering this, because there's no better advertising than word of mouth, and we'd be honored to work with your friends and family the same, and we even pay handsomely for it. So more on our referral program. Okay, one last question before I go. Can I go completely off the grid? My short answer is not quite yet, but we're getting closer. Now, can you imagine having solar panels installed on your own roof, your own battery in the garage? The power goes out for 1, 2, 3, 4 days, but it's during the summer or it's during a sunny streak. Well, as long as you've got solar and battery and still conserving your energy use. So I don't want to oversell this that you can just have a party and run your air and your pool pump. You could be off grid for a number of days, and then, hopefully by then the grid is restored and you're back to normal. There are complete offline solutions out there. That's just not something we specialize in. We're really working with grid-tied systems and with energy storage systems that give our customers more energy independence and for longer. And it's just a fundamentally cleaner, cheaper, more efficient solution than how we're receiving and using power today. So great first live stream today. Thank you so much, anyone that was on this call today. Tell a friend or two, and we'll be announcing our next scheduled meetings in the days and weeks to follow. Have a great weekend. Happy Labor Day.